So I hear if you put the ointment on it, it'll go away.
That helps thing. I was looking for like a pill for this rash.
No, it's the ointment thing.
No? Hey everybody. Hey Motorcycle.com viewers. My buddy Shaheen over here. We're coming to you from the driver and passenger seat of Shaheen's Subaru Forester.
My wife's
Your wife's Subaru Forester. I realize this is a motorcycle channel and we're talking to you from the car, but there's a good reason for that. Shaheen, you're a Ducati guy, right? I think it's fair to say you're a Ducatisti.
Ducatisti.
Yeah. Why? Tell me about your history about Ducatis, or with Ducatis.
The short version is that I've ridden a lot of them. I've owned 5 of them, and I work for Motor Corsa, which is number one Ducati dealership in North America.
Shameless plug.
In Portland, Oregon. So I've had the distinct pleasure and opportunity to ride pretty much every Ducati ever made. Almost. I've never ridden a Polo though.
Oh, well, no one's perfect.
Yeah.
Good segue. New V4.
That's right.
The hotness.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Oh, it is everything that it should be. Pictures don't do it justice. Words don't do it justice. You should ride one, and if you can have the means to buy one, you should buy one. It is very, very fast. It is very, very complex. Comes with a big fat book on how to deal with the electronics on there, which is pretty much the only way you're going to stay alive, I think. I'm not nearly as fast of a rider as you, but that being said, I feel like a superhero when I ride that thing.
Well, so I've ridden the Ducati V4, Panigale V4. You have, obviously. But I'll admit, I'm not a Ducati fanboy. Sure, I respect and admire Ducatis for what they are and what they've done and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But like I said, I'm not a big Ducati fanboy. Does the V4 have that same DNA as all the other Ducati superbikes before it, in your opinion?
I think it does, but I think to someone that has but someone that isn't so, into them, like maybe me and other Ducatisti, you would really have to ride other superbikes to kind of get the full gist of what the V4 is about. Because it is the next version. It's the evolution of the Panigales, I think.
Well, that brings up a pretty cool idea then. Wouldn't it be cool if we were able to line up all the previous V-twin Ducati superbikes and we ride them? I mean, by we, I mean me. I'll ride them and see, does the V4 have that same kind of Ducati DNA as all the V-twin superbikes, Ducati superbikes before it? Wouldn't that be a cool idea?
That'd be amazing. I would only have to make probably 40 phone calls and beg and plead. I bet we can get it done.
You think we can get it done?
I bet we can get it done.
Huh. Oh, check this out, the Ducati 916. If you ask me, the most iconic Ducati superbike of all time. Shaheen, is that you by the V4?
Hey, buddy.
Hey, man.
So we made it. Got all the bikes out here. I made a couple of quick phone calls, and a couple of buddies brought bikes on short notice, including the V4.
This is crazy. So what's going on right now?
I think we're going to do a little time travel.
A little walk through time?
Start with the original bad boy, at least to a lot of us who are in our early 40s. And kind of working our way up to the most modern, most electronically advanced thing on the road right now.
Okay, so let's recap what we have here today. We've got, on this side, the 916 in all its beautiful 916 glory, followed by the 999, 1098, 1199 Panigale, 1299, and then of course the Panigale V4. This is going to be one wild ride, or actually more than one wild ride. Gene, I think the only thing left to do now is ride, right?
I think we just got to ride, man.
Let's do it, buddy. Cut. Okay, we know there's a very important motorcycle missing from this group of bikes, and that is, of course, the Ducati 851. Without it, it could be argued Ducati as a company may not even be here today, and you can definitely argue that without the 851, the 916 and all the bikes that come after it also wouldn't be here today. So what makes the Ducati 851 so special? Well, it was the first. It was the first of its kind. It was the first Ducati superbike. It ushered in high-performance L-twin engines. It had liquid cooling, which was a first for a Ducati superbike because this was the first Ducati superbike. Liquid-cooled engine, 4-valve heads, hence the Decimo Quattro designation. It ushered in fuel injection as a must-have performance item, making carburetors less and less relevant as time went on. Of course, Ducati won the very first World Superbike Championship with the 851, with Raymond Roche on board. There's a variety of reasons why the 851 is an important motorcycle. First and foremost is that it was the original and the OG of the Ducati superbikes. And for that reason, we definitely wanted to include that bike here with our group, but it's increasingly hard to find a working example, especially here in the Pacific Northwest, and one that an owner would let someone like me take for a spin. And so, unfortunately, we weren't able to include it here, but we would be remiss if we didn't give it a shout out in this piece.
Alright, so the sun's in my face and it's setting, which means it's the end of a really nice track day. You, the king of the track, got to try 6 bikes. I mean, there's only 4 here.
Yeah, well, 6 bikes entered, 4 bikes came out the other end.
Welcome to the Ridge.
But really what happened was, you know, public track day, people are like, screw this, I want to go home, and they took their bikes and left. What a day.
What a day.
I don't even know where to begin.
Oh, well, you began with the 916.
True. Yeah, so how do we sum up the lineage of these amazing Ducati superbikes? I guess it all starts at the 916, right? The 916, really stiff throttle, really stiff clutch. No auto blip, no quick shifter, none of that stuff. Everything is on you to make it go fast, and it's super cool when you get it right, because that's the way they intended it to be, what, 24, 25, whatever odd years ago? Yeah, and you get it right, and you're like, holy cow, almost 30 years on, this 916 holds its own in 2018. It's crazy. I was saying to you, I think, before, off camera, that 916, on its side, it handles better than a lot of current modern motorcycles. I mean, that's how impressive it is all these years later. I mean, I'm gushing over that bike because it is so cool. Of course, I couldn't afford to own one with the maintenance costs and the ownership costs and all of those things, so I'm extremely grateful for my friend Daniel, who's off camera right now. Thank you so much for letting me ride it, because it was really an experience. Moving on to the 999, it's kind of more of the same. Really cool when you have it tipped over, but it's so much easier to ride than the 916.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty much an analog motorcycle, more or less, compared to a V4.
Yeah, I don't think there's any TC on it or ABS or anything.
It's all in your hand. Yeah. And like, yes, it's the redheaded stepchild of the Ducati Superbike family. Clearly, you look at this lineage here, and you're like, okay, you see, like, one of these is not like the other, right? But I don't know. To me, that 999 is growing on me. It's a cool looking bike. I think all these years later, I think it's going to, I don't want to say hold its value because that's not the right term, but I think as time goes on, I think people will change their minds about the 999 and realize, you know, it's not a bad bike. From a performance standpoint, it's every bit better than the 916. It's a 916 on steroids.
Yeah.
Power-wise, the 916 feels like a nicely sorted 600. 999 feels like a nicely sorted 750. And then you move on. I mean, we're not counting the 1098 that's not in the picture right now, but like, let's fast forward. The 1098 was that, and the 1198 was that middle ground where power and handling kind of met at that intersection.
Right.
There's a lot of power there, which is what the Panigales rely on, but that chassis, that trellis frame on the 1098, 1198, those are probably some of my favorite Ducati superbikes because they're fast as hell and they handle so well too. So now we get to the Panigale series, and the 1299 and the 1199, like I said, they rely on the torque in the mid-range to just blast you out of corners, and they handle well, don't get me wrong, but I've never had that same sense of confidence of knowing exactly where the front tire was as I do with the trellis frame 916, 999, 1098, 1198, so on and so forth. It's a completely different riding experience, and it's really rewarding, don't get me wrong. It's just different.
How do you think it's different? Do you feel like you're working more?
I feel like with the trellis frame design, you can rely on the corner speed. With the 1199, 1299, and especially with the V4, your mindset changes to let's maximize this engine and get through the corner as best as I can to get on the gas to just outpower everything else in my
So it's all about exit speed.
Right.
Right.
That's a lot of power. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just a different way of riding a motorcycle. So with the 1299, you've got that just ginormous bottom end and mid-range to do exactly that, shoot you out of a corner. Then you hop on the V4. It's just like all hell has broken loose. This bike, I can't say it enough times, is just bonkers. It's crazy. I mean, bottom end, mid-range, and then you're like, okay, this has to be done now. Nope, the revs keep climbing and suddenly you're going even faster. Where the 1299 tops out, peters out, the V4 keeps going. And we're standing on a mile-long straightaway. Behind the camera is probably what, another half mile?
Yeah, I think it's exactly a mile long.
This is a mile-long straight. And on the V4, this flashes in the blink of an eye, it seems like. When I was brave enough to look down at the speedometer on the V4, at one point it was probably right about like here, actually. I think I saw a $180 something, and the thought, holy bejesus, ran through my mind as I hit the brakes for turn 1 over there. Everything about the V4 is monstrous, it's powerful, it's in your face, it's by no means a beginner motorcycle, but if you're an experienced rider, it's easy to ride fast. The fueling is really good. The electronics on the V4 S, which this one is really easy to toggle through. If you would have told me back in '94 when the 916 came out that you would have a motorcycle that had traction control, wheelie control, engine brake control, quick shifter, V4 180 down the front straight, something as wild and crazy as the Panigale V4, I would have said you're out of your freaking mind. This march of technology is super cool, and the question we posed was, is the DNA still there? Abso-freaking-lutely.
Yeah.
It is absolutely still there. You ride the 916, you ride the V4, 999, 1299, 1098, whatever the case may be, that DNA is there, it's just changed. It's having the chance to do this and ride them back to back to back, you can see those little incremental steps where the changes have happened. So when you go from the 916 to the V4, suddenly it's, holy crap, these are completely different beasts, but they're born from the same factory, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
So, whew, Sheen, what an amazing day. I have to say thank you, buddy, for putting this together. This all started from a BS like text message chain, like, hey buddy, what are you
Couple
doing?
of beers in, you know.
I'm like, wouldn't it be cool to ride all these Ducatis? And you said, I can make it happen.
You'd probably make this happen.
And here we are, getting a chance to do this. So thanks, buddy.
My pleasure.
Appreciate
man.
that.
Absolutely.
Thank you to Moto Corsa for having this track day.
Absolutely.
Allowing us to pretty much have free reign and do what we want. It was really rad. Thank you to everyone who allowed us to ride their personal motorcycles. These are not pressed bikes, except that's a demo bike.
It's a demo bike, but
It's almost the same. But yeah, these are actual personally owned motorcycles that they were stupid, brave, nice enough to let me ride. So I'm extremely grateful. Thank you to everyone who let us do this. What a wild ride. What a cool trip through time. And wow. So Shaheen, I think there's nothing left to do now, but
we'll just show up in 30 years as old men and ride the next bike.
I'm okay with that.
You in?
Yeah, man.
Let's do this thing.
Let's do this. Woo!